She was astonished, the Gospel tells us. If she was astonished, it had to be because she was unaware of something important relating to that son of her womb, because astonishment is a reaction of surprise about something unforeseen, unknown, or ignored. It is obvious that the mother did not know everything that we do about the son of her womb. Nothing was handed to her on a silver platter. She had to carefully cherish the events and facts in her heart, contemplate and meditate on them, and look for God's plan just like we do, because he who searches has to walk. She was a pilgrim of faith. Session 4. Woman of Faith. Vatican Council II tells us that Mary progressed on her pilgrimage of faith. Mary was a pilgrim, a traveler who walked the roads of life and experienced the same situations encountered by any other pilgrim: darkness, confusion, bewilderment, doubt, fear, exhaustion, amazement, and most of all, so many questions. How did Herod find out about the birth of the child, and why is he trying to kill him? How long must we stay in Egypt? Until told otherwise? Will we ever find that child lost in the temple? And the tragedy of Calvary, that horror of horrors, what does it mean? I can't see anything. Where is God? Questions, only questions. What would the mother do when faced with this terrible silence? Run away? No. Become desperate? No. On 3 occasions, the Gospel states that she meditated within her soul, comparing the ancient words with recent painful facts, and searching for the face of God in the midst of the silence, shadows, and darkness. He who searches must walk. The mother was a traveler because she searched. She sought because she didn't know anything. If she had known everything that we know, there would have been no need for searching. She had to cautiously hold the words and the events to herself. Then she had to carefully contemplate them within her heart, reflect on them, and mull them over in her mind. She had to follow the same path in life that we do, looking for some celestial plan among the confusing contradictions of life. He who searches must walk. Logic tells us that it is untrue that the mother was infused with revelations from God at an early age, disclosing to her all the knowledge that we possess about the history of salvation or the transcendental nature of the son of her womb. There are many who feel no compassion for a woman wearing a halo, magical, so distant from our poor human condition. She was placed so far above in the blue heavens, crowned with stars, the moon under her feet, surrounded by angels and archangels, visions and revelations, dressed in magical mythology, as if she were some kind of demigoddess. Many people have no empathy at all with a being who, to start with, is not really a woman. From the first moment, we need to make it clear that the mother was not like that. She was a humble woman from an underdeveloped nation. mother of a laborer and wife to a laborer. In order to eat a piece of bread, she first had to rub stones together to coarsely grind the wheat. To have the water necessary for blending the batter, she had to go to the fountain in Nazareth, fetch it, and carry it home on top of her head in a bucket. Then she would have to climb the hills alone, cut bushes and branches for firewood by hand, and carry them home across her shoulders. In the meantime, she also had to tend the goats and feed the chickens. This was the mother's life. She was no princess with soft, delicate hands. This was not the measure of the mother's greatness. She was not a ruler, she was a servant to God and to her brothers and sisters. She was not some sort of demi-goddess. She was a woman of faith, a humble woman of God. She was never a shining inspiration that drew the gaze of all humanity. She was a silent path that quietly guided people towards the spirit expressed in the Beatitudes. She was never all-powerful. She was an intermediary, a very humble and moderate one, as we see her depicted at the wedding of Canaan. The Council's documents portray Mary as a pilgrim of faith. I add that she was a pilgrim of faith because she did not know everything. One day, old Simon, moved by the Holy Spirit, approached the mother and took the babe from her arms, and looking at the people said, "Worshippers of Yahweh, pilgrims of Israel, here is Israel's awaited one. Now I can die in peace, because my heart's desire has been fulfilled. Here is the light that will outshine all kingdoms and warring nations. Death and life, destruction and restoration will surround this child. And you, woman, prepare yourself, because there is also a sword for you." These are mysterious words. What was the mother's reaction? She was astonished, the Gospel tells us. If she was astonished, it had to be because she was unaware of something important relating to that son of her womb, because astonishment is a reaction of surprise about something unforeseen, unknown, or ignored. It is obvious that the mother did not know everything that we do about the son of her womb. Nothing was handed to her on a silver platter. She had to carefully cherish the events and facts in her heart, contemplate and meditate on them, and look for God's plan, just like we do, because he who searches has to walk. She was a pilgrim of faith. On another occasion, the Gospel tells us that the mother did not understand anything. The child could not be found in the men's caravan, nor was he in the woman's caravan. They had lost him. Imagine a mother, and what a mother, facing the predicament of losing her son, and what a son. The first thing to pierce a mother's heart is the blade of uncertainty. Is he alive? Has he been kidnapped? Will we ever find him? What has happened? The mother set out on the first caravan and returned to Jerusalem, where for 3 days she anxiously searched for him. Do you think she ate properly in those days? Do you think she slept enough on those nights? Do you think she slept enough on those nights? Do you believe that the pain of uncertainty ceased to torment her soul? There you have the mother, lost in the crowd among the caravans going in and out of the temple, anxiously looking here and there, searching out every corner, looking in the temple atriums, questioning the priests, and finding nothing. Then she went out into the streets, swarming with people. She roamed the plazas, looked inside and outside the walls, and still could not find him. She returned to the temple, looked some more, asked again and again, retraced her steps innumerable times, and anxiously made inquiries, and all for nothing. So many hours passed. The day ended and night fell. You can imagine the darkness that fell over her soul. Do you think she slept well that night? Which one of you can describe the level of anxiety and uncertainty that the mother's feelings must have reached? And God, as usual, he was silent. And the mother was in her usual state of abandonment, a sorrowful pilgrim, seeking but not finding, caught at the crossroads of a dense and terrible darkness. It seemed as though everything depended on luck, as if events unfolded according to the blind destiny of history, without any providential hand or guiding mind to steer them. This is the dark night of faith. It is the same for us. Things seem to be going well when all of a sudden we are besieged by a chain of setbacks, betrayals from the people we least expect, misunderstandings by our families, car accidents that wipe out our whole families, our favorite relative being claimed by death, financial disaster, slander, and half-truths. This is the dark night of faith, being enveloped in God's silence. During the span of our lives, who is free from these terrible moments? And the mother? After 3 days of anxious searching, she finally finds him. Do you believe that she was overcome with joy? You would imagine that she was. Nevertheless, her first words sounded like a reprimand. How could you do this to us? For 3 days we have been anxiously searching everywhere for you, and you seem so unconcerned, as if you had nothing to do with us. Her words were something to that effect, an emotional release. The adolescent's reply was strange, mysterious, and remote. It was as if he were saying, "I don't have anything to do with you. From now on, my father is my mother. He is my only business and concern. I am accountable only to him for my actions and my time." Didn't you know this? Why are you so surprised? Why were you looking for me? The Gospel tells us that the mother didn't understand his reply. What was it that she didn't understand? The words? They were very clear. What she could not comprehend was the child's attitude. This was an evident sign that she did not know everything that we do about that son of her womb. But herein lies the mother's greatness. As usual, she humbly retired, full of peace, and began to meditate within her heart and ponder things over in her mind. What do these words mean? How should this attitude be interpreted? What is God's will? If the gospel had not told us, it would be hard to believe that there could be a woman in this world who could confront the circumstances that she faced. For 3 days and nights, she was consumed by fear and uncertainty. She went without eating and resting properly. She was physically exhausted. Nevertheless, in spite of receiving such a disconcerting answer, she could still retire and, full of serenity, silence, and dignity, let her mind ponder the meaning of those words. If the gospel didn't state this, it would be unbelievable. This woman's heart was dead. It's the only explanation for this enviable and admirable composure of the mother. Her heart had to be dead to self-esteem. Her heart was like a dead tree trunk. If a tree trunk does not react to a devastating blow from an axe, then it's because the tree is dead. That was the condition of the mother's heart.